Alright kids, I'm back with more of Monday's material, which is the 30th. So this is 6.3. We'll get back to 6.2 on Tuesday. Trig functions of angles, so degrees and radians. So back on the unit circle, finding values, but this time we're going to be talking in terms of radians and degrees. Again, radians is old news. It's technically our mileage, so that shouldn't be anything crazy, so it's a nice review for your quiz. The degrees is going to work the same way, but we have to work in degrees instead of working in our mileage. Alright, so cosine of pi over 3 radian. I put the units in there just so you can see that we're really working, this angle is really in terms of radian. But if you don't see that unit, for example, E, 4 pi, it's already assumed since there's no degree symbol, it's really radians, and we just don't ever write radians. So if it is in degrees, like 120 degrees, the little degree symbol has to be there. Otherwise, it's assumed it's radian measure. Alright, so find the exact value of cosine of pi over 3 radians. Well, you are going, if you're on the unit circle, or I'm sorry, you have a cosine function, you're going to the unit circle. You're drawing pi over 3 radians, that's one of our famous guys. Right there. And there's pi over 3. So what is that cosine value? And you should know those by heart. So it's 1/2. That's old. Okay, you already know how to do that. If I wanted to do B, cosine of 60 degrees, you want to draw an angle of 60 degrees. Okay, you already drew the angle of pi over 3, happens to be the same thing. And since it's cosine, you want your x value, it's 1/2. So it works the same way, whether you're walking in radians or walking in degrees. You're going to walk around that unit circle and build those angles, or walk those miles, okay, and get your cosine value as x, the sine value is y, and then you got your rest of your trig functions. Alright, so I'm just going to write that in as 60 degrees. If I wanted to show my work in a test or a quiz. Alright, 100 sine of 180 degrees, so I have to make a 180 degree angle. That's this guy, 180 degrees. And what is my sine value at that point? That is -1, 0, so my sine value is 0. Done. Okay, let's see. Fix that, it's not supposed to be in blue. Alright. For D, I want to walk negative 30 degrees. Tangent of negative 30 degrees, so I have to walk. So remember, our positive 30 degrees would be there, so our negative 30 degrees would be here. Okay, so your negative is always below the other guy, so there's negative 30 degrees. Okay, and what are the famous values to that? Because that's a famous guy, that's pi over 6. That is square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, but you went down, so it's a -1/2. So my tangent value is y over x, which is -1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, which is -1/2 times 2 over root 3, which is -1 over root 3. Okay. So there is my tangent of negative 30 degrees. Again, it's not negative because our degree was negative, it's negative because of the quadrant we ended up in, so don't forget that. Alright, let that sink in for a minute there, or seconds. Okay. Okay, we're going to do cosecant of 4 pi. Since there's no degree symbol, so it's assumed as radians or mileage, whatever. I want to walk 4 pi miles. So if I walk 4 pi miles, I'm walking twice around that circle. There's 4 pi miles, or 4 pi radians. And at that point, it's 1, 0. What is the cosecant? Cosecant equals 1 over sine of pi over 4, or 4 pi, which is 1 over the y, which is 1 over 0, and that is undefined. So that's what you would write for that. Okay. Alright, now we're going to do secant of 120 degrees. So we need to walk 120 degrees. So secant, we can just write that down right now. Secant is 1 over cosine of 120 degrees, which is a 1 over the x. So that's going to give us 1 over something. So here we go. 1 over something. Alright, 120 degrees. We're going to see that that's famous, thank God. So here's 60 degrees, here's 90 degrees. So if we want to get to 120, we need another 30 degrees. Okay, so this is a 30-degree chunk. So here's 120 degrees because we have 60, 90, plus another 30 is 120. That's famous. What famous guy is that? Just to write that down in radians for your practice, that is 2 pi over 3. So you want to know all your famous degrees all the way around the unit circle. Okay, and I'm going to put up another complete unit circle with the degrees on there too. Alright, what are my units there? Those are pi over 3, guys. Look, it's right here. But the x is negative and the y is positive still. So we have 1 over x, which is 1 over negative 1/2. That equals 1 times negative 2 over 1, which is negative 2. So there is your 120-degree angle right there. Okay. Alright. So we'll get that unit circle complete, but I just wanted to get that on there, 120 degrees. Okay. That is a janky angle. Alright, we're going to do more. Okay. Practice, practice, practice. G, that's a janky G, but you get the point. Cotangent of negative 105 degrees. Alright, let's go to our unit circle. Okay. Well, we know this is negative 90 degrees. Okay. And how are we going to get 105 degrees? So if you do, how many more? Oh, did I mess this up? Let me pause this.